If you have belly fat or can't lose weight, it's not a willpower problem. It's often because your daily routine is poorly structured. And when I say that, you might imagine I'm going to suggest removing, reducing, cutting out, or banning certain foods. But believe it or not, your diet is often unbalanced because it's missing things, not because it has too many. I've been observing this with my patients in consultations for 10 years. So today, I'm sharing 4 super simple habits you can start implementing as early as your next meal to lose belly fat easily. Not a diet, not a list of forbidden foods, not a restrictive meal plan, just simple, logical, science-backed things. And stay until the end because you'll see that the third habit alone can really make a difference. First habit, to lose belly fat easily, I strongly recommend eating a portion of raw vegetables every single day, either at lunch or dinner, and always making a homemade dressing with a quality oil, a quality vinegar, and spices and herbs. A few notes on the oil. I talk about this often on this channel. Sorry if I repeat myself, but there's a top 5 of oils you should never heat, which are however perfect for dressings. Linseed oil, walnut oil, and rapeseed oil are the easiest to find, the most pleasant in taste, and also the cheapest. Add to that list hemp oil and camelina oil, which have much stronger flavors and much higher prices too. The best approach, if your budget allows, is to rotate between all these oils. As for vinegar, first make sure the bottle actually says vinegar and not something else. For example, you'll find products on shelves called balsamic glaze. That's not vinegar, and it contains a phenomenal amount of sugar. Then, if you can make this effort, your weight and health will thank you. The best vinegar is apple cider vinegar that still contains the mother, a kind of thin film that allows you to add wine to wine vinegar, so it all ferments into vinegar over time. Look online, there are plenty of brands that do this, or check local organic shops nearby. Yes, this requires research, organization, and perhaps a bit more budget, but when you eat something almost every day of the year, it's worth making that quality effort. Otherwise, just rotate between apple cider vinegar, raspberry vinegar, balsamic vinegar, vary the pleasures, and above all, listen to your own tastes. Third key element here is obviously the vegetables themselves. Raw vegetables, preferably local, seasonal, and organic, or from sustainable farming. In that order. Buying organic out-of-season produce shipped from the other side of the world makes no sense. Where possible, avoid peeling them. Carrots, for example, because the skin contains a good amount of vitamins, fiber, and minerals, but only if they're organic or sustainably grown, since the skin also tends to hold a lot of pesticides, unfortunately. In summer, it's fairly easy. There are plenty of seasonal vegetables you'd want to eat in a salad like tomatoes or bell peppers. For spring and winter, think along the lines of asparagus, endives, cabbages, lettuces that are in season, or grated carrots and radishes, which are in season almost all year round. Pink radishes in warmer months, black radishes in winter. And finally, the fourth element, spices and herbs. I recommend always using one spice of your choice and one fresh herb of your choice. It doesn't matter which ones. The idea is to vary, to follow your taste, and to keep a nice rotation going. I personally suggest always having some black pepper, turmeric, curry, cumin powder, and chili if you enjoy it, and rotating through them. If you have a house, a small herb garden is a great idea. If you're in an apartment, you can buy indoor herb kits or window box planters for a bit of parsley, basil, mint, oregano, dill. You get the idea. What makes this habit so interesting is that first, you'll be getting fiber from the vegetables and a little from the herbs too. On top of that, you'll get probiotics, the good bacteria found in vinegar, which nourish the microbiome in your gut. When that microbiome is out of balance, it can increase sugar cravings and gut inflammation, contributing to bloating. The quality oils provide omega-3s, anti-inflammatory molecules that help deflate a bloated belly. And the herbs and spices are rich in antioxidant and anti-inflammatory compounds that help repair your body, protect against illness, and yes, also support weight loss if that's your goal. One last note, there's absolutely no problem making large bowls of salad or raw veggies. However, I strongly advise making the dressing fresh on the day. Avoid keeping dressings in the fridge door for 2 or 3 days. A dressing is very fragile, cold, light, and oxygen will progressively destroy most of the beneficial beneficial compounds over time. Second habit, make sure you have at home a list of 5 to 10 recipes maximum for moments when you need to cook something super quickly. Here, I want to emphasize something. Many of my patients come to my practice thinking that eating healthily means giving up spontaneous meals, the unplanned moments that are part of life and that make life worth living. Maybe on Thursday evenings, you sometimes have drinks with friends. Maybe on Saturday evenings, you have dinner with neighbors and occasionally do a barbecue or raclette. Maybe Sunday lunch is a family tradition with a good home-cooked meal. I believe those are not the moments where your dietary imbalance happens. I think it's in your everyday meals where you need to set the healthy eating bar high enough to leave room for those celebratory moments. Let me explain. Imagine you finish work around 5:30 or 6 p.m. You're exhausted, you've had a rough day, it's raining outside, it's winter, it's already dark. Your boss and colleagues weren't particularly kind. You go home, you have to pick up the kids. Maybe there's an hour's drive with traffic and aggressive drivers. You arrive home at 7 p.m., starving, completely drained. You don't have the mental energy to spend an hour cooking for the whole family. And maybe you don't even have the ideas, the recipes, or the nutritional know-how to do so. What happens? Either you order something on a food delivery app, or you eat an industrially processed ready meal full of junk, or you make something comforting but often completely unbalanced. Those are the moments when your diet goes off the rails and you gain weight. And the problem is that you then feel guilty without even the pleasure you'd get from time with family or friends, as I mentioned. So I think the priority is to work on these everyday meals. What I suggest is creating a small card or a note on your phone with a minimum of 5 and a maximum of 10 quick recipes. Some examples: a mushroom omelet with a small salad and a simple dessert, done in minutes. Or throw some tomato paste, ground beef, a rinsed can of kidney beans, and some chili into a pot. Cover and cook for 10 minutes. You've got a chili con carne in a flash. Or make a wrap platter: corn tortillas, strips of vegetables, strips of chicken, and a seasoned yogurt sauce with chili, lemon, and parsley spread inside the wrap. It's quick, fun, and everyone loves it. These can be salads, quick stews like the chili where you don't have to stand over the stove, or tray-style meals where the idea is just to assemble the right foods. A can of sardines, for instance, is a fantastic option. Make things that suit you, that you know everyone at home enjoys, and that are quick. Then once you have this list, make sure your pantry always has everything needed to make those 5 to 10 recipes. That way, when you come home with your brain running on empty, you have ready-made solutions. You'll stop fighting your own mind and actually eat well. I'll close this point by asking you to reflect on how much absolute pleasure or joy you truly need from every single meal. I'm a food lover. Ao tasenai ao zia awafaina dome and kadia bume ao soul. I talk about pleasure, conviviality, and sharing often. But let's be honest, there are some meals, particularly those weeknight dinners when you're exhausted and going to bed an hour later, where you're not looking for peak culinary satisfaction. You want something quick, balanced, and efficient. For those meals, it's a real shame to let your diet go off track. Keep those 2 or 3 festive moments elsewhere in the week, and things will go much better for you. By the way, if you're looking for quick and balanced meal solutions without spending an hour in the kitchen, I have a free week of express, balanced, and delicious menus with recipe cards available in the description below the video. Help yourself. Third habit to lose belly fat easily: have a snack. And at this point, you might be thinking, what is he talking about? What is he? I'm trying to lose weight, trying to get rid of belly fat, and he's telling me to add another meal to my day? Yes, I believe it's better to eat 4 meals a day: breakfast, lunch, a snack, and dinner, rather than 3, 2, or worse, just 1. No santia. The snack model is fairly simple. Aim for fiber, good fat, optionally a little protein, and above all, water. There's no real need to add sugar to this type of meal. If you like something sweet, you can have a seasonal fruit, a handful of nuts for healthy fats, and mix it all into a plain yogurt or skyr with a coffee or herbal tea on the side. If you're a lighter eater, you can skip the dairy and just have the fruit, nuts, and drink. And if you want to add a little indulgence, especially if there isn't any elsewhere in the day, 1 or 2 squares of dark chocolate always hit the spot. especially since at that time of day, your brain needs comfort and dark chocolate is perfect for that. It's rich in magnesium and you probably love it too. If you prefer a savory option, vegetable sticks, half an avocado for good fats, and for protein, dip the sticks in a seasoned plain yogurt or add a little charcuterie, some cooked ham or smoked salmon. It depends on what's practical for you. Not everyone watching this can cook an egg at 5 p.m. And for hydration, add a glass of water. The goal here is to anticipate the problem I mentioned earlier, coming home in the evening starving, exhausted, and out of ideas or motivation to cook. Take your snack between 4:30 and 5:30 p.m. and try to leave a good 2 to 2.5 hours between the snack and dinner. This way, you won't be suffering through that brutal end-of-day hunger. If you leave work at 5:30 and arrive home an hour later, during that whole journey, your stomach will be growling and your brain will be craving sugar. Stop fighting yourself. Your body is hungry, but eat. That's the only valid response. I'm hungry. I'll drink water to suppress the hunger, and that doesn't work. I'm hungry. I'll grit my teeth or chew gum to forget I'm hungry, and that doesn't work either. You're just postponing the problem. Don't put yourself in opposition to the signals your brain and stomach are sending you. I'll say it again. If you're hungry, eat. What's also great here is that since you won't arrive at dinner ravenous, you'll be able to make more sensible choices. You'll eat lighter in the evening. That's a good thing because you'll sleep better. With your stomach less full, your digestive system gets to rest and you'll feel much more refreshed. And being more rested means you'll have less need for the energy that a poor night's sleep would otherwise make you crave in the form of sugar. And even though I don't think intermittent fasting is a good idea, at least in the medium to long term, doing this can give your digestive system a 10 to 12 hour rest. For example, eat a relatively light dinner around 7:30 p.m. and don't eat again until 7:30 a.m. the next morning. That, I think, is genuinely beneficial. Again, to reduce inflammation in the digestive system by letting it rest rather than digesting all night long. Fourth and final habit, to lose belly fat, place water bottles strategically around your home to help yourself drink enough. Yes, diet is crucial and needs to be balanced, but hydration is at least just as important. The thing is, there aren't hundreds of things to say about it. You just need to drink enough, around 1.5 liters of water a day. So I talk about it less than food, but please don't neglect it. Your body cannot function properly. Your potential weight loss cannot happen if you're not drinking enough. It's impossible. The problem is that you already have plenty of things to think about during the day. I imagine the mental load is quite heavy for many of you, so it's hard to add yet another thing to think about. Two options. First, place water bottles or flasks in strategic spots. I've shared this before. When I was a student in Rams, to help myself drink more, I put water bottles in the bathroom. Every time I went to the toilet, 2, 3, maybe 4 times a day, I'd take a big gulp of water. Without even really trying, that covered half my daily hydration. My mother was a home carer traveling to visit clients who needed help. I advised her to put a bottle of water on the passenger seat of her car, and every time she left a client's home, she'd take a big sip. Think about your day. Think about the layout of your workplace or home and find ways to scatter these little reminders. Second option, habits are much easier to adopt and maintain over time when they come in pairs at minimum. Think about when you were little. Brush your teeth, go to the toilet, put on your pajamas, go to bed. Ninteng kazi di waat at. I'm sure that 30 or 40 years later, most of you still have that chain of habits. Maybe you've added others and dental floss, moisturizer, whatever. That pairing of habits works really well for the brain. Do the same for yourself. If you're a teacher, drink a big gulp of water every time the bell rings. If you're a therapist like me, every time you walk a patient back to the waiting room, go back to your desk and drink a big sip of water. Make it something that fits your life. Now take a step back and look at the 4 habits I've just shared with you. I never said to remove or cut anything out. I never talked about eating less, forbidding things, or going on a diet. Quite the opposite. I've given you habits that embed naturally into your daily life and that you can start tomorrow. That is exactly the philosophy of Le Nutriscope. My goal is to help busy adults make peace with their bodies through a flexible method that fits into real life. If this kind of content interests you, feel free to subscribe to the channel. You can also visit my website to discover my programs at Lenutriscope. And if you want to get rid of belly fat, I've also made a video about the foods that help with that. Allah oi sai, why sign by, ye sign, ein, ye sign, ye sign, ye sign. I'll leave the link right here. Izakti ye sign, ye sign, ye sign. See you soon. Bye. Sonne 4,6 faible.